I'm Caleb Giddings from Gun Nuts Media, and today's video we are reviewing the Ruger GP100 10mm. That's right, 10mm is back, baby. It's back in a big way. It actually has been making a bit of a comeback, the 10mm cartridge, and it's probably because of hipsters or millennials who are obsessed with nostalgia. But either way, 10mm is back. There are multiple manufacturers that are offering guns in 10mm, like SIG has a 220 out in 10mm right now, and Ruger decided to offer the GP100 Match Champion in 10mm. Smith & Wesson also did a run of the 610 in 10mm again this year. And what usually happens with these 10mm guns is they'll make limited quantities of them, enough to kind of like fill the market demand that's out there, and then they won't make them for a while, and then they'll make a few more to fill the new demand as, you know, these things come and go. Now, today though, we have the GP100 Match Champion. Now, obviously, I am deeply familiar with the Match Champion series, with the GP100, having used this extensively when I was campaigning in IDPA in the revolver division. Not a 10mm gun, however, though. I always used a 357 Magnum. So very briefly, we're going to go over some of the features of the GP100 Match Champion. First, we have the wood stocks, which are very nice. They're nicely textured. They have good grip on them so that you can hold on to the gun pretty well, even when it's soaking wet, as we'll see later in this film. I do wish that they were checkered all the way up here, but that's because I have a super high grip on this gun. And that's a really common complaint I have with almost every gun, is I wish the checkering went higher up here. Like all of the Match Champion guns, it has Ruger's interchangeable front sight. This has an adjustable rear sight, which you can click around to zero it with your round of choice. This one I also have done some internal work to. My Caleb Giddings action job is to do this. Like 500 times with the stock spring and stock trigger return spring, and that kind of takes the gunk and maybe some of the junk off the bearing surfaces. So then once that's done, then I replace the main spring with a Wilson Combat spring, and I replace the trigger return spring with a Wilson Combat spring, which gives me a pretty clean, pretty easy to manage 9-pound trigger pull. I'm happy with that. Now, one of the things I haven't done, I used to bob all of these hammers. I used to keep the hammers on my match guns bobbed, and I haven't on this one, and I haven't on my 357 gun, because one of the things that I like to do now during load and make ready is once I drop in my clip, which we'll talk about here in a minute, I like to pull the hammer back just enough to let the cylinder freewheel, and then I'll give her a little spin. One, it looks cool and it sounds cool, but two, it also tells me that if the very first 6 shots in there are going to all index correctly through the cylinder, all right? If I go like this and it binds somewhere, then I know I've got a high primer or I've got a round that's not correctly seated in the clip, which brings me to the clips. Because this is a 10mm revolver, you need to use moon clips. Ruger ships it from the factory with 3 10mm moon clips. I did some shooting with it with the 10mm clips, and it was a blast to shoot. It is like shooting a hot Magnum gun. It's quite a lot of fun. But then I was like, but wait, what about 40? Because this is a competition gun, and nobody is going to shoot 40 in, or excuse me, no one's going to shoot 10mm in a match. That's ludicrous. We're all going to shoot 40 out of it. Well, 2 important things. You have to, 1, get different clips, all right? The way that the 40 works and the way that the 10mm works is the factory 10mm clips that Ruger ships this with won't headspace rounds correctly if you're using 40. How do I know? I tried. I had extremely inconsistent ignition. So I went out to my friends at TK Custom, moonclips.com, and I bought 30 of these 40 Smith & Wesson moon clips. That cost a lot of money. Low-key, post a bag of your TK Custom moon clips on Instagram to flex on pores, and people who know will frickin' know. Anyway, So I went out and I bought these, the 40 Smith & Wesson Moon Clips from TK Custom, and they work great. Because I've lightened up the action in here, this gun is now only to be used with Federal primers. So using Federal American Eagle 180 grain ammunition, let's see how I do on the Gabe White standards. Gabe White standards, Ruger GP100 10mm. Slow, but clean bill drill in 305. Next is failure to stop. .226 clean. And immediate incapacitation. .221 clean. Last 4 body, 2 head. And also clean. Let's take a look at the hits. That was a 335. Yeah, clean in the body, clean in the head. I'm gonna mark these and then we're gonna go shoot the IDPA 5x5. So as you can see, not bad shooting. All clean in the center and in the head. If you go to Gabe White's website, GabeWhiteTraining.com, you can look up the different standards that he has. He has 3 pins that you can get. You have a dark pin, which is the lowest level pin. You have a light pin, and then you have a turbo pin. Turbo pin, to get a turbo pin, you've got to shoot a sub 2 second bill drill, a sub 1.7 failure to stop, sub 2 second immediate incapacitation, and a 2.6 on the 4 body to head drill. So I didn't get any of those today, but I had 2 runs that would have been good enough for a light pin. My failure to stop was off by 1/100th of a second. My bad. I could definitely get there. And then my split bill drill, 4 body, 2 head, was pretty solid. That for a light pin, he has a 350. I shot it in a 330 and change. So you can, as you can see, you can shoot this gun pretty well. You can shoot it for speed pretty well. It was starting to rain as I shot that, which made the rest of this training session somewhat unpleasant. I definitely was not dressed for the weather. The gun was fine, though. The gun was fine. Anyway, we're going to go now, and as I said on the line, I'm going to go show you guys the footage from the IDPA 5x5 drill. Figures I fucking wear a tank top, and it's supposed to be sunny today, and instead I spend the day getting fucking rained on. Oh, Florida. Alright, here's the IDPA 5x5. If I can do this without failing. Alright, that was 325. Looks like it's clean. Up next is 5 strong hand only. .456, might be down 1 there. All right, this is gonna be 5 reload 5. Let's see if I still remember how to reload a revolver. Definitely dumped 1 shot. 736. And last but not least, 4 body, 1 head. I wonder how bad that reload was. That was a... .323 reload. Well, looks like there's a lot of dry fire in my future. 4 body, 1 head. And that was clean. And it's great. 363. Let's go look at the hits. All right, looks like I am down 2. These 2 right here are plus 2 second penalty. Got all my headshots, got everything else I needed to do. So I'm gonna go back to the studio. Hopefully when I come back out here to shoot a 15-yard group, it won't be raining. It'll be raining. So, as you can see, the IDPA 5x5 classifier went pretty well. I dropped 2 points. After my points down, my total time was 20.80 seconds. So that's about 2.5 seconds faster than what you would need to make Revolver Master in IDPA, even with my very, very slow reload right there. I'm pretty happy with that. Obviously, I am a masterclass IDPA revolver shooter, so it was nice to be able to pick this gun up for, you know, maybe the 3rd or 4th time and go out and shoot a master level score with it. As you could see, the weather got worse. It didn't get much better because the next thing we did was we went and shot a 6-shot group. And here's that video. All right, we're gonna shoot 1 6-shot group at 15 yards. Remember how I said I hoped it wouldn't be raining anymore? Still raining. Move to Florida, they said. The weather's fucking beautiful, they said. Oh, my gun's all wet. Shit. That one's right in the middle of the target. I might have thrown that one a little bit. Ugh. Definitely threw that one. Alright, well this sucks. Like a lot. Let's go look at this group while I get poured on. Fucking weather. Alright. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 shots all in 4-inch circle. I could cover that with about, yay. So that's about a 3-inch group. Considering it is pouring on me sideways, yeah, that's a pretty good group, especially with FMJ ammo. That sucked. It was raining hard. And that level of rain was messing with my concentration. The gun was all wet. The gun still shot an excellent group, especially considering I shot the group with Federal American Eagle 180 grain FMJ, right? It's not world renowned as a super accurate round, but at 15 yards, definitely staging the trigger on that, I was able to keep all of the shots easily under 3 inches while standing unsupported. I have no doubt that if I had better weather conditions and better ammunition, some, you know, type of jacketed hollow point from Hornady or something, I'd be able to produce an even better group. One thing I want to talk about, and I mentioned this on an Instagram video a couple of days ago, which by the time this video comes out will have been months ago, but anyway, about staging versus prepping the trigger. So, real briefly, we'll talk about one of the things that you saw me do in this video. When I was shooting the Gabe White standards of the IDPA 5x5, I'm doing what's called prepping the trigger, which is as the gun moves to the target, I am taking the slack out of the trigger as it moves, so that when the gun lands on target, it goes bang. That's called prepping the trigger, and I do it all the time. I prep the trigger in recoil. I prep the trigger as I'm transitioning left to right on targets. I'm forever prepping the trigger, especially with something like a DA revolver. Staging the trigger is what you saw me do when I was shooting the 15-yard group. And with the GP100, it's very easy to stage. You can just pull the trigger part of the way, the cylinder locks up, the hammer's back most of the way, and then you just almost have like a single action pull to get there. It's having just a lot less trigger travel to deal with, because when I'm out here, if I stage it while I'm shooting a group, then I can just be like, boom, and get that nice, easy shot. So that's staging versus prepping. Anyway, that is it for this video. Ruger GP100 and 10mm. I like it. I like Ruger GP100s, obviously. I've shot them forever and shot them very well at a very high level in IDPA competition. I used a GP100 to make A-class in ICOR Classic division. So I like the GP100. I've always liked the platform, and I've always shot it well. This particular gun I like a lot. One interesting note is I had to move the rear sight almost all the way over to the left to actually get it to hit point of aim, point of impact for me, but whatever. It's an adjustable sight gun. That's why the sights are adjustable. I think this gun is awesome. I think if you want a 10mm gun for competition or to have a 10mm, get this, because now you have a 10mm. You can use... This gun is designed a lot for competition, obviously. Unfortunately, because of the rules change in USPSA, it's basically useless in USPSA competition because USPSA revolver is dominated by 8-shot moon clip guns, which, by the way, Ruger has one of those out now too, which I'm so getting as soon as possible. But there are still niches for this. IDPA competition is still all 6-shot guns. And there's an interesting question that I have as to what has an advantage, a very soft shooting 38 special in IDPA or a slightly harder recoiling 40 Smith & Wesson that takes moon clips. We're going to find out in 2020, I promise you that. But the other thing that you can do with this gun is you can buy it to have a 10mm, because 10mm are freaking cool. I'm Caleb Giddings. Thanks for watching.